The first night I stepped inside, I knew something was wrong. The silence wasn't normal silence. It was watching me. My name's Mark. I'm 28. I work with tech systems, mostly repairs, monitoring, and data backups. Nothing too exciting. When I got offered a seasonal gig at an Arctic research station, I said yes right away. 6 months of cold and quiet sounded perfect. Good money, too. I just had to keep the comms running and make sure the machines didn't freeze over. Easy. At least, that's what I thought. The place was called Outpost Theta, middle of nowhere. No roads, no nearby bases, just ice and snow in every direction. A transport plane dropped me and a few others off, and then it was gone. Just like that. We were alone. 9 people total. That included me. Scientists, engineers, 1 medic. All experienced. Most had been here before. I was the newbie. No sun for weeks, just gray skies and snowstorms. The wind never stopped. It moaned around the building like something alive. We were buried deep in white with only radio contact to the outside world. And even that cut out sometimes. Inside, the place wasn't much better. Lights flickered for no reason. The heaters made clicking noises that didn't sound like metal, more like bones. Some nights, the power would dip for a second, just enough to let the dark creep in. Then the lights would hum back on like they were waking up from a bad dream. I figured I was just spooked from the travel. The cold gets into your head, makes you jumpy. That's what I told myself anyway. Then I heard about the tunnels. It was day 2 when someone mentioned them. We were in the kitchen, having rehydrated eggs and stale coffee. A guy named Ellis asked if anyone had checked the boiler pressure near the shaft hatch. I looked up. What shaft? He frowned. Boiler room. Trap door by the back wall. Didn't they brief you? No one mentioned a shaft. The room went quiet. Jamie the medic looked at me. We don't talk about the tunnels. I laughed a little, thinking it was a joke. What, are they haunted? No, Jamie said. They're worse. I waited for someone to smile. No one did. Ellis finally said, they were mining tunnels, back in the 60s, before this place was a lab. Old site got covered in ice, but the tunnels are still under us. I asked why we don't use them. Ellis just said, we don't go down there, ever. I looked around the room. Everyone seemed uneasy. I thought maybe they were messing with me, new guy hazing. But then Jamie leaned in. He looked tired, dead serious. He said, there's a rule. Don't open the trap door in the boiler room, not for any reason. No matter what you hear, no matter what you see, if you hear knocking, you didn't. If someone's calling your name, they're not. Why? I asked. He stared at me for a long time before answering. Because what's down there doesn't stay down there if you let it out. I thought maybe he was just trying to scare me, but he looked scared himself. That night, I went looking for it. I couldn't help it. Curiosity's a curse. I told myself I just wanted to see it, just once. The boiler room was always warm, too warm. Even with the cold outside, it felt heavy in there, like the heat didn't come from the machines. I found the trapdoor in the corner, iron hinges, bolted shut with thick locks and an old warning sign half covered in frost. I knelt down, put my hand on the wood. It was cold. Not regular cold, not Arctic cold. It was empty cold, dead cold. The kind that feels like it doesn't belong in this world. I backed away and left the room. I didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, I asked Ellis again, what's really down there? He looked me dead in the eyes. No one knows, he said, because the ones who went down, they never came back the same, if they came back at all. After that, I started paying attention, watching the others, listening to the things no one talked about. Some rooms had extra locks. Some logs in the computer were missing data, whole days erased. And every night, around 3 a.m., the heaters clicked in a strange pattern. Tap, 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 pause. Then one long creak like something stretching far below the floor. On the fourth night, I was lying in my bunk. The power was steady, wind howled outside. Then I heard it. Knocking. 3 soft taps from below. I sat up, held my breath, thought maybe it was pipes, maybe my brain was playing tricks. Then it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Right under my bed. I wanted to move, get help, wake someone up, but I just sat there, frozen. My heart was pounding. After a minute, it stopped. I didn't sleep after that. I just watched the door, waiting. I told myself it was nothing. I didn't believe myself. The next morning, I asked Kami if anything weird ever happened at night. He didn't answer. He just looked at the floor. "They knock," he whispered. "At first they knock, then they whisper, then..." He didn't finish. "What happens then?" I asked. He just walked away. That night, I couldn't help it. I went back to the boiler room. I wanted to prove it was just in my head, just old pipes or pressure shifting. I stood in the dark near the trapdoor. Then I heard it again, knocking. But this time it was louder, closer. And after the last knock, I swear I heard something else, a voice. It said my name, Mark. I ran. I didn't stop until I was locked in my room with the lights on full. And the worst part? No one else seemed surprised, like they'd all heard it before, like it was normal. But it's not. It can't be. There's something under this place. And I think it's awake.
The next day felt colder. Not outside. The outside was always freezing. I mean, inside. Inside the lab. Inside my bones. When I woke up, there was frost on my pillow. Not just the window. My pillow. The air felt like it hadn't moved all night. Still, heavy. And I swear I saw my breath, even though the heaters were humming like always. I went to check the thermostat. Said it was 72. That was a lie. I rubbed my hands together and headed to the kitchen. A couple of the others were already there. Jamie wasn't. "Where's Jamie?" I asked. No one answered. Ellis just sipped his coffee, eyes half closed. Nora, the lead scientist, looked down at her cereal like it held secrets. The whole room felt off. I grabbed some powdered eggs and sat down. Then I saw it. A layer of frost running along the floor. Thin, like someone had spilled ice water and let it freeze. It was coming from the direction of the boiler room. I followed it. The hallway felt colder the closer I got. The lights flickered as I walked, only when I got near the trap door. It was like the building was reacting to me. I stood at the boiler room door for a second, just breathing, listening. Nothing. I opened the door. The heat hit me like a wall. It was boiling in there, way hotter than it should have been. I took a few steps in, feeling sweat build up fast. The trap door was shut, locked. But the frost on the floor, it ended right at the base of it. I stared at it. Then I heard something. A voice. It was faint. Not from the trap door, from above, behind me. I turned fast. No one was there, but the air felt wrong, like something had been standing behind me a second ago, watching. I backed out and closed the door. At lunch, Jamie showed up. He looked like he hadn't slept. His eyes were red-shot, skin pale. He sat alone, muttering to himself. I sat next to him. "You okay?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, "They're bored." I frowned. "What?" "The ones below. They want us to come down. They're bored." He looked at me for the first time. "You heard the knocking, didn't you?" I didn't know what to say. He nodded, like I had answered anyway. "They always start with the knocking. Then they use voices, familiar ones. Then they start saying things that only you would know, things no one else could." I wanted to believe he was just tired, just scared, but I wasn't sure anymore. Later that day, I found a note slipped under my door. It said, "Don't listen when it sounds like you." No name, no handwriting I recognized. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, lights off, wrapped in 2 blankets, trying to pretend everything was normal. But around 3 a.m., I heard it again. Knocking. Not under my bed this time, from the boiler room. 3 knocks, then silence. I held my breath. Then, I heard my voice. Not someone who sounded like me, my actual voice. "Mark!" It dragged out the name, too slow, too perfect, like someone had recorded me and hit play at half speed. I got up and ran out of the room, down the hall, right past the boiler room. I stopped when I reached the common area. My hands were shaking, my legs felt weak. Jamie was there, sitting in the dark. "You heard it, didn't you?" he asked. I nodded. He looked around, like making sure no one else was listening. "We have to leave," I said. "We can't. There's a storm coming. We're grounded for at least 2 more weeks." His hands started shaking. "Then we're dead." That was the last full conversation I had with Jamie. That night, I heard someone moving down the hall. I got up and peeked out. Jamie was walking towards the boiler room, slow, barefoot. I stepped into the hallway. "Jamie!" He didn't answer. He just stood in front of the trap door, staring. Then he reached for the lock. I ran down the hall. "Jamie, stop!" He turned. His eyes looked empty. Not tired, not sick. Empty, like something else was using his body. He whispered, "They said they'd show me the stars again." Then he pulled the bolt off the door and opened it. Cold air poured out like a breath from the earth. I didn't go near it. I couldn't. Jamie looked down into the darkness. Then he smiled, and he climbed down the ladder. I didn't stop him. I couldn't move. After a minute, the trapdoor slammed shut. The room returned to silence. In the morning, he was gone. No one saw him leave. No one knew what to do. We checked every room, every hallway, every storage closet. Nothing. Then, we checked the trapdoor. It was closed, but this time, it wasn't locked. It just sat there, waiting. Ellis locked it again, double-bolted it, moved a steel cabinet on top. We all stood around it. No one spoke. Then Nora said something that chilled me, more than the cold ever could. He broke the rule, the one rule. Don't go down there. Now it was broken, and I don't think we're alone anymore.
The storm rolled in the next morning. Thick whiteout, wind howling like it had teeth. We couldn't see more than 5 feet past the window. Radios crackled, but no one was on the other end, just static. Jamie was still gone.
Nora called a meeting in the comms room. Everyone showed up except Jamie, of course. "He could have gone outside," Ellis said. "No," Nora replied. "His parka's still hanging by the door, boots too." "What are you saying?" someone asked. She looked at the floor. He didn't leave through the front door. That left one option, the trap door. We stood there in silence. It felt like the air got colder with each second. No one wanted to say it, but we were all thinking the same thing. Jamie went down there, and now he was gone. Ellis and 2 others geared up to check outside anyway. They thought maybe, just maybe, he wandered into the storm. Delirious, sleepwalking. I stayed behind with Nora and a guy named Felix. The 3 of us sat in the lounge, watching the snow eat the sky. After about an hour, I went back to Jamie's room. I don't know why. Maybe I thought he left a clue. Maybe I just wanted to feel closer to someone who wasn't acting like everything was normal. The room smelled like him. Old coffee, sweat, and something else. Metallic. Like blood, but not quite. His bed was made. His bag was packed. Weird. I checked his desk drawer. Inside was a notebook, spiral-bound, half-burned on the edges like someone tried to destroy it and change their mind. I flipped through it, page after page of scribbles. Eyes, long shapes, scribbled black figures with arms too long and heads too narrow, pages filled with the same words over and over. Don't listen, don't listen, don't listen. And then, the cold is alive. One page was torn out, just a jagged edge left behind. Suddenly, I heard something. Clicking. Soft, steady, rhythmic. It was coming from the hallway. I froze. The sound moved past the door, like bones tapping on metal. Then, it stopped. I waited. Didn't breathe. Nothing. I put the notebook under my shirt and went back to the lounge. "Anything?" Nora asked. I shook my head. No sign. Ellis and the others came back around sunset. They didn't find a thing. No footprints, no heat trail, no broken ice. But somehow, Jamie's scarf was lying on the snow near the generator. Clean, not frozen, like someone placed it there. Only the snow was untouched around it. No boot prints, no wind marks, just the scarf, sitting there, like bait. They left it where they found it. That night, we locked every door, pushed furniture against the trapdoor. No one slept. Around 2 a.m., I heard the clicking again. I wasn't the only one. Nora heard it too. So did Felix. We met in the hallway, eyes wide, weapons in hand. I had a crowbar. Nora had a fire axe. The clicking was coming from Jamie's room. We opened the door. Empty. No sound. Just cold. The window was frosted over. Frost on the walls, even the ceiling. Something had been in there, but no signs of entry. No broken glass, no open vent. Then we saw it, scratched into the wall, deep, like claws or a blade. Jamie's still down there, but he's not alone. I wanted to throw up. Felix backed away. This is bad. This is really bad. Nora ran to the boiler room. The cabinet was moved, locks undone, trap door half open, but no one had touched it. We gathered everyone in the comms room again. This time, no one argued. Something was happening, something none of us could explain. "We need to send an emergency signal," Ellis said. Felix shook his head. "We've been trying. No one's responding. Then we need to survive long enough for the storm to pass, assuming it ever does." I told them about the notebook, showed them the drawings, the words, the scratched-out faces. Nora's hands shook as she turned the pages. These look like the things from my dreams." "What dreams?" I asked. She looked up at me. They have no eyes, but they see everything. Silence. Then from the hallway, knock. Once. Knock. Knock. Twice. Knock. 3 times. We didn't move. Then we heard Jamie's voice. Mark. He sounded close, right outside the door. Nora covered her mouth. Then the voice changed, slightly, off, like a copy of a copy. Let me in. We didn't. We waited in silence until sunrise. No one spoke. No one moved. When we finally opened the door, the hallway was empty, except for one thing. A torn notebook page lying on the floor. It had one sentence. You're next.
I didn't sleep after that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. The hallway, the note, the words. You're next. My dreams were full of ice, corridors made of bone and frost, long black shapes moving behind frozen glass, a voice humming a low tune I'd never heard before, but somehow already knew. When I woke up, my skin was cold and damp. My breath fogged the air. I was sweating, but freezing at the same time. Nora said the temperature sensors were glitching again. They're reading 72, but I swear it's closer to 40. I didn't argue. None of us did anymore. We were past arguing. We were surviving. Or trying to. I kept thinking about that trap door. Jamie went down. He never came back. Then something, or someone, scratched words into the wall and left a note outside my room. It couldn't be him. Not really. And yet, I couldn't shape the sound of his voice calling my name. I had to know. I told myself I'd just look. Just look. That night, when everyone was pretending to sleep, I snuck out of my room, walked down the hallway in the dark. No flashlight, no sound, just the creak of the floor under my boots and the hum of the power grid. The boiler room door was shut, but it wasn't locked anymore. The lock sat on the floor, broken in half like someone crushed it with a hammer. I opened the door. Heat hit me hard. Thick, damp heat. It felt wrong, like breathing through wet cloth. The air shimmered above the boilers. My skin prickled. The trap door was uncovered, half open. A faint blue light glowed from below, like moonlight through ice. I stepped closer and looked down. A ladder stretched into darkness, steel bars slick with condensation. I could hear dripping, and something else. Movement. Then, Mark. My name. Whispered from below. Soft. Familiar. Jamie's voice. But not exactly. It was slower. Like someone remembering how to speak. I backed away. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers trembled. I closed the trapdoor and slammed the latch back into place. Ran to Nora's room, banged on the door until she opened it. She saw my face and didn't even ask, just let me in. I told her everything. I heard him, I said. He's down there. Her hands clenched. You're sure? I swear, he called my name. She sat on the edge of her bed and stared at the floor. What if he's alive? I asked. She didn't answer. Then Ellis came in. He must have been listening from the hall. If there's a chance, we can't just leave him down there. He went willingly, Nora said. He was lured, I snapped. You saw what it's doing to us. Silence.
Then Nora whispered, "We take a vote." We gathered everyone. 5 of us left. Me, Nora, Ellis, Felix, and Annika, the botanist. She hadn't said much since Jamie vanished. Just kept to herself, scribbling in her journal and whispering to the plants in the grow room. We stood in the common area and voted. 3 said yes, 2 said no. They were going down. Ellis, Felix, and Annika. I tried to stop them, I begged, but once the decision was made, they didn't wait. Ellis geared up the headlamp and a walkie. Annika carried a notebook. Felix had a taser, not that it would help against whatever was down there. Nora and I watched as they opened the trap door. Steam rose from the shaft. It smelled strange, sweet, like rotting fruit, and copper. The 3 of them climbed down, one by one, vanishing into the dark. The walkie buzzed once, then went silent. I watched that trap door until the last boot disappeared. Then Nora shut it. Sealed the lock. We pushed a steel cabinet over it and waited. Hours passed. No sound, no movement, no voices. The air in the lab got colder. The lights flickered more. At one point, we thought we heard footsteps in the ceiling, but no one was there. By the 12th hour, Nora looked at me and said, "They're not coming back, are they?" I didn't answer, because I already knew.
We waited for 16 hours. No word from the 3 who went down. No static on the walkie. No knocks, no whispers, nothing. Just silence. But not the usual kind. This silence felt heavier, like it was pressing against the walls, like the building was holding its breath. Nora and I took turns watching the trap door. We didn't speak much. What was there to say? At 3:13 a.m., the lights flickered. That wasn't unusual anymore. But this time, they didn't come right back. They blinked once, then again, then off. Total black. The hum of the generator stopped. The heaters cut. The silence became complete. Then, boom. A loud sound, like a metal door slamming open. From the boiler room. We froze. Then, footsteps. Heavy ones. Too heavy. I grabbed the crowbar. Nora stood behind me, holding a flare. We made our way through the hall, past the sleeping quarters, past Jamie's door, past the frost-covered walls. The boiler room door was wide open. Steam poured out. The trap door was open. And standing next to it was Ellis. He looked up at me, smiled. "Hey," he said, too calm. "We're back." Felix and Annika stepped out from the shadows behind him. But something was wrong. Ellis had frost in his eyebrows, but his skin wasn't red, not cold, not alive. Felix's headlamp was still on, but the battery light blinked red. He didn't seem to notice. Annika was barefoot. Her feet were blackened, frostbitten, but she didn't limp, didn't even flinch. Nora whispered, "Where have you been?" Ellis turned to her, blinking slowly, too slowly. "We were exploring," he said. His voice was flat, not tired, not excited, just empty. Felix tilted his head. "We saw something down there. It was beautiful. You should have come." He smiled. Annika just stared at us, eyes wide, pupils too large. I stepped forward. "What did you see?" Ellis turned to me. "You'll see soon." Then he walked past us, right down the hallway, like nothing happened. Felix followed. Then Annika.
I looked at Nora. We lock ourselves in the comms room, now. We ran. Inside, I bolted the door and pulled a metal cabinet in front of it. Nora dropped the flare. We sat in silence, listening. Their footsteps faded. Then we heard humming. Felix's voice. That same slow tune I'd heard in my dreams. I didn't realize I was crying until Nora put her hand on my arm. She whispered, "We lost them." I said, "They came back." "No," she said. "Something else came back." Around 4 a.m., the lights came back on. The hum of the generators returned, like the station was pretending nothing had happened. We didn't leave the comms room until daylight. When we stepped into the hallway, the others were gone. But something had changed. The walls had frost patterns on them, spirals, like fingerprints. Jamie's room was wide open. All his stuff was missing, as if he'd never been there at all. The storage room? Ransacked. Tools missing. Coats gone. The emergency radio backup was smashed. Someone, or something, had gone through the base while we slept. We started searching. In the kitchen, we found food stacked into a pyramid on the table. No one admitted doing it. In the med bay, all the syringes were lined up on the floor, perfectly straight, each filled with blue liquid. Nora asked, "Did you leave this here?" I shook my head. Then, from down the hallway, a scream. Long, twisting. It sounded like metal tearing. It didn't sound human, but it came from a human throat. We ran to the source. Ellis, or what used to be him. He was in the grow room, kneeling in the dirt, staring at the ceiling, mouth open, screaming, but not moving. His face was blank. No pain, no fear, just screaming. Over and over and over again. Nora stepped forward. "Ellis!" He didn't blink, didn't stop. She reached toward him. His eyes snapped at her. Then he stood up, still screaming, still not blinking. He stepped toward her. I pulled her back. Then he stopped. The screen cut off. He tilted his head and said, "I like your skin." Then the lights went out again, and something pulled him into the dark. We ran, didn't look back. We heard dragging behind us. Nora slammed the door to the lab lounge and locked it. We waited. This time, there were no footsteps, just breathing, right outside the door. But when we looked through the crack, there was no one there, just frost on the glass, and 5 long finger marks slowly melting down the window. We're not alone anymore.
The cameras didn't help. We thought maybe, just maybe, the security system caught something, anything, we could use to explain what was happening. Nora pulled up the feeds. Most of them were just static, choppy, lagging, but a few worked. She played back the last 6 hours. Ellis appeared on screen first. The hallway camera caught him walking toward the grow room, but he didn't look right. His head jerked to one side every few steps. His arms swung too wide, like his body forgot how to be human. Then Felix entered the frame. He wasn't walking, he was gliding. Not fast, just smooth, no bounce, no rhythm. His feet touched the floor, but he didn't move the way people do. Then Annika entered. She stood still at the end of the hallway for a full 5 minutes, not blinking. Then, all at once, her head twisted toward the camera. The feed glitched, and when it returned, she was gone. Nora shut the monitor. "We're not watching that again," she said. I nodded, because I saw something else. In one frame, just for a second, something was behind Felix. Not another person, not a shadow, something tall, thin, made of snow and ice, no face, just holes where eyes should be. Watching. That night, The whiteout hit full force. Snow pounded the walls. The wind screamed like it had lungs, and I swear the building started breathing. Slow inhales, long exhales, like something massive was sleeping beneath us. I walked past the window near the rec room and stopped. There were eyes in the snow. Not real eyes, but shapes. Indented, like someone or something had been staring in through the window, eyes pressed against the glass. I stepped closer. The snow shifted, like it was watching me back. I ran. Back in the lounge, Nora was pacing. She said, "I found something." "What?" She held up a dusty recorder, old tech, covered in tape and dust. Back storage closet. It was in a box marked Archive 1974. No one ever mentioned it. She pressed play. The voice was shaky, old, male. "This is Dr. Emmerich, last survivor of Outpost Data. They live beneath the ice. I was a fool to dig. They wear us like clothes. They mimic, copy, feed off thought and voice." The pause came back rasper. "Don't trust what you see. Don't trust what you hear." Nora stopped the tape. We sat in silence. Then all the speakers in the station crackled to life. "Mark!" My name, echoing from every room, every hallway, every vent. "Mark! Come down here!" I slammed my hands over my ears. Nora yanked the wires from the back of the radio panel, killing the sound. Then we heard it again. Knocking. This time on the door to the lounge. One knock. Pause. Two knocks. Long pause. Three knocks. Then, "It's me." My voice. But I was right there. It repeated. "It's me." Louder. Angrier. Then the sound of nails scraping the door. Long. Deep. Nora grabbed a knife from the emergency kit. I held a flare. We didn't speak. We didn't breathe. Eventually, the sound stopped, but we didn't open the door. When we finally looked through the small crack in the frame, nothing. Just a trail of frost leading down the hall. We followed it. The trail ended at the comms room. Inside, the wall was covered in writing, scratched by something sharp. Same sentence, over and over. "Let us in." Nora backed away. Her hands were shaking. I stepped forward and saw something even worse. Below the scratches, there was a list. Our names, crossed off one by one. Only 2 names left untouched. Mine and hers. The rest? Erased. Gone.
We didn't speak for a long time after we saw the names. Just sat there in the comms room, lights flickering, our breaths fogging the air. The power grid was holding, but barely. And someone, was inside with us. Maybe more than one. I kept staring at the list on the wall. The scratches were deep. Not done with a pen. Done with something sharp. Something intentional. My name. Nora's name. Still untouched. Everyone else was crossed out. "What does that mean?" I whispered. Nora didn't answer right away. Then she said, "It means we're next." We checked the fuel generator that morning, or what was left of it. Smashed. Burned. Torn apart from the inside like it had been gutted. Metal bent outward, not inward. That's when I knew for sure. Whatever was down there wasn't just waiting. It was learning. The temperature dropped fast. The heaters couldn't keep up anymore. Pipes groaned like something was inside them, pushing, stretching, crawling. We had less than 24 hours before the heat failed completely. Nora found an old fire axe in the emergency closet and handed it to me. I gave her my crowbar. Neither of us felt safer, but holding something heavy helped us pretend. I taped a flashlight to the axe handle. The lights were blinking more often. We couldn't trust them. The base felt emptier. We hadn't seen Annika or Felix or whatever they had become in almost a day. But that didn't make things better. It made it worse.
because now we didn't know where they were. Every now and then we'd hear things. Distant footsteps. A laugh from the wrong room. Once, I heard someone breathing in the duct above me. Long, steady breaths. Too steady, like a machine. I remembered what I found in an old clipboard once, a note that someone must have written before going mad. You'll know them by the way they breathe. It's too steady. That line stuck with me. People breathe uneven, fast, slow, shaky. But they don't. Nora and I moved carefully through the station, whispering, checking each room, one by one. We opened the med bay. All the cabinets were open. Syringes lined up in rows again, perfectly even. The mirror was shattered, but not broken in. It was broken out, like something inside the reflection had escaped. We turned and saw Felix standing at the far end of the hallway. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just stared at us with that same blank face. Then his mouth moved. Only it wasn't Felix's voice. It was Nora's. Perfect copy. I'm scared, Mark. Then he blinked. Too slow. Too late. Then again, too fast. His head twitched. His arm bent the wrong way. And he started walking toward us. Not running. Not lunging. Just walking like he had all the time in the world. We ran. Down the hall, around the corner, into the equipment bay. Locked the door behind us. We pressed our ears to the metal. No footsteps. No sound. Then, Mark, it's me. My voice. Right outside. It's okay. It's safe now. Nora gripped her crowbar so tight her knuckles went white. Don't open it, she whispered. I won't, I said. But the voice kept talking. It told me things only I knew. Where I grew up. My sister's name. The song my mom used to hum when I was sick. And it said it perfectly. Like it had pulled the memories straight out of my mind. Then I remembered something else Jamie once said. They start with the knocking, then the voices. Then they say things no one else could know. I backed away from the door. Nora looked pale. I could see her breath coming out faster. We have to make a run for the backup fuel room. Try to fix the line. Or we freeze. She nodded. I counted to 3. We opened the door. Nothing. The hallway was empty again. But we didn't trust it. We sprinted down the corridor. Every light buzzed as we passed under it. One exploded. Glass hit my jacket. We reached the fuel room. Inside, the backup line was ripped in half. Useless. But the power control panel still worked. Barely. Wires sparking. Nora reached inside and started working. She was good with circuits. I watched the hallway. It felt like it was watching me back. Then, I heard something. Voices. Dozens. Hundreds. All of them familiar. Laughing, crying, whispering, calling my name in every voice I've ever known. Then one voice rose above the rest. I remember the sun. I turned. Felix stood in the hallway again. Closer this time. He smiled. I want your skin. I slammed the door. Locked it. Nora turned and said, We're losing power. Fast. I nodded. Then, we heard scratching on the door. Long, slow, dragging. We backed away together. Just us. Just two names left on the wall. And time was running out.
I couldn't take it anymore. The cold, the waiting, the breathing in the walls, the faces that weren't real, the voices that knew too much. I needed answers. I needed to see for myself what was under the floor. I waited until Nora fell asleep. She'd finally passed out on the lounge couch, wrapped in a space blanket and shaking from more than just the cold. I grabbed the axe, tied a flashlight to my shoulder, and walked to the boiler room. The door creaked open. The trapdoor was already unlocked. Of course it was, like it had been waiting for me. Steam hissed from the corners. A smell hung in the air, rotting sweetness mixed with rust. My boots stuck to the floor from frozen puddles that shouldn't have been there. I opened the hatch. The light from my shoulder barely touched the bottom. The ladder stretched into a thick darkness that didn't move. No echoes, no draft, just silence. I climbed down, one step at a time. The metal rungs were freezing. I felt them bite through my gloves. Each step echoed a little less the deeper I went. 30 steps down, the ladder ended. I hit packed ice. My boots crunched against it. I was in a tunnel. Narrow, smooth. The walls glowed faintly blue, like light was trapped inside the ice. I aimed my flashlight ahead. The tunnel stretched forward for at least 50 yards. Then it split. I walked. The deeper I went, the more the air changed. It felt heavy, like it was pressing against my chest. The flashlight flickered, but I didn't stop. I saw marks in the ice. Scratches. Claw marks. Fingers? I couldn't tell. Then symbols. Carved deep. Circles inside circles, spirals, shapes that looked like faces stretched too long, eyes carved in uneven rows. One of them blinked. I stepped back. No, it didn't move. It was just the ice playing tricks. Right? I turned a corner and stopped. A chamber opened up before me, large, perfectly round. The walls were covered in carvings. Some recent, some ancient. In the center was an altar. Not made of wood, not stone. It looked like bone, polished, cold. And above it, floating in the frozen ceiling, was Felix. At least, I think it was him. His body was half submerged in the ice, arms outstretched, mouth open, eyes wide, and moving. He saw me. He looked right at me, and his lips moved. Help me. But no sound came. Then I heard it, breathing, all around me, inside the walls, under my feet, behind my ears. The ice wasn't ice anymore. It was full of faces, dozens, hundreds, pressed against the surface like they were trying to escape. Eyes rolling, mouths opening and closing, skin stretched thin over frost. They were watching me, and they started whispering together. It's warm inside. Let us in. I backed away from the altar, turned and ran. I didn't look back. I followed the tunnel by memory, left at the carving with the spiral, right at the crack in the wall, then the ladder. I climbed faster than I ever thought I could. The walls shook behind me. The whispers grew louder. Don't leave. Stay. You're part of us now. I reached the top. Threw the trapdoor open, pulled myself up, slammed it shut, locked it, pushed the cabinet back over it. I collapsed to the floor, breathing hard, frozen, sweating. Nora found me 10 minutes later. I couldn't speak at first. She helped me to my feet. I went down, I whispered. She went still. What did you see? I looked at her. I wanted to lie. Say I saw nothing. Say it was empty. Say everything was okay. But I couldn't. I saw them, I said. I saw Felix. I think they keep pieces of us down there. She didn't ask more. We just sat in silence until we heard it again. Knocking. From below. But this time it wasn't just one knock. Or 3. It was dozens. Hundreds. Like 1,000 fists hitting the floor beneath us. Then, silence. They knew I'd seen them. And now, they wanted in.
When I woke up, Nora was gone. I'd passed out on the floor near the boiler room, still clutching the axe. My back ached. My fingers were numb. I called her name, quietly at first, then louder. No answer. I searched every room. Her blanket was still on the couch. Her boots were by the door. The crowbar was gone, but the trap door? Still locked, still sealed. I wanted to believe she was okay, that maybe she'd just gone to the lab wing or the comms room. But deep down, I knew better. I checked the security feed, hoping for anything. Most of the cameras were still dead, but one, just one, was working. The hallway near the research lab. I pressed play on the overnight footage. At 2:33 a.m., Nora appeared in the frame. She was walking slowly. She looked normal, until I noticed something. Her shadow didn't move with her. It followed behind her, a second too slow. Its head twitched the wrong way. Then she turned and looked directly at the camera. Her eyes were pitch black. No whites, no color, just 2 holes. She smiled, and the footage cut out. I shut off the monitor. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, because if she was gone, I was alone. The station felt different now. Bigger. Emptier, colder. Every hallway echoed, every pipe groaned. The shadows stretched too long, reached around corners. I moved slowly, axe in hand, flashlight taped tight. Then I found the camera. A real one, not on the wall. Lying on the floor outside the mess hall, covered in frost. Still running. I picked it up. It was an old handheld, had the base's ID tag on it. I clicked playback. The video was grainy. It showed Felix first. He stood in the grow room, staring into a mirror shard. Behind him, nothing. Then Ellis walked into frame. He didn't speak, just stood there. Then he opened his mouth, too wide. His jaw unhinged like it was made of rubber, and something else crawled out. Long, thin, white. A hand? A leg? I couldn't tell. The video glitched. Then cut to the next scene. Jamie, curled in the corner of a hallway, whispering, "It's not pretending to be me anymore. It thinks it is me." Then darkness, and finally, Nora, her face, close to the lens. She stared directly into the camera, unmoving, and whispered, "You were supposed to stay out." I dropped the camera. It hit the floor and cracked. The lights above me buzzed, then went out. Total dark. Then, footsteps. Not from one direction, from every direction. Upstairs, down the hall, through the vents. The building groaned like it was in pain or joy. I ran, blind in the dark, hands on the walls, feeling my way. I made it back to the lounge and slammed the door, locked it, stacked furniture in front, sat in the corner. The emergency lantern cast a small glow. I thought maybe they'd go away. Then I heard it, the trap door opening. Slow, screeching. They were coming up, and I couldn't stop them. The footsteps circled the hallway, slow, careful. I heard whispers from every room, every speaker, every pipe. "Mark, we see you. We miss your face." Then, silence. A knock on the lounge door. I didn't move. Another knock. Then, a voice. "Mark, it's me." Nora's voice. Too perfect. Too calm. "I need you to let me in." I didn't speak. Didn't breathe. She kept knocking. Then, another voice joined her. Ellis. Then Jamie. Then my mother. Then my sister. All of them outside the door, calling my name, begging me, laughing, sobbing. I grabbed the axe and held it tight. I was the last one. Everyone else, gone, or worse. Then, another knock. But this one was soft, unsure. I opened my eyes. A figure stood outside the frosted window. Someone in a coat, breathing hard, face covered in ice. It looked like Nora. She mouthed something I couldn't hear. I leaned closer to the glass. She mouthed it again. 3 words. "Don't trust me." Then, her eyes turned black, and she smiled. I stepped back. The lights blinked, and all I could think was, what if I'm already one of them? What if I never left that tunnel? I looked at my reflection in the lantern glass, and for a moment, it didn't blink when I did.
I stopped trusting reflections. After that moment with the lantern, when the thing in the glass didn't blink, I stopped looking at mirrors, windows, anything that could show me myself. Because what if it wasn't me looking back? What if it never was? The power gave out the next night. Everything went black. No more lights, no more heaters, no more soft humming to comfort us. Just silence. Thick, sharp silence. The kind that crawls into your ears and burrows behind your eyes. I stayed in the lounge until the cold pushed me out. My hands were going numb. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering. I had one working flashlight left. The batteries were low. I had to move fast. I ran to the comms room, kicked the door open, slammed it shut behind me. No lights. Just the soft glow of emergency panels and blinking systems slowly dying. I found the main console and started flipping switches. Static filled the room. No voices, no signals. Just a faint buzz. Then, click. The mic came on. I took a breath
and leaned in. "This is Mark Sutter, technician at Outpost Theta. If you hear this, we need help." I looked at the door. Something moved past it. I whispered into the mic, "They're not human anymore. They look like us, sound like us, but they're wrong. Don't trust what you see. Don't trust what you remember." The power dipped the next night. Everything went black. No more lights, no more heaters, no more soft humming to comfort us. Just silence. Thick, sharp silence. The kind that crawls into your ears and burrows behind your eyes. I stayed in the lounge until the cold pushed me out. My hands were going numb. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering. I had one working flashlight left. The batteries were low. I had to move fast. I ran to the comms room, kicked the door open, slammed it shut behind me. No lights, just the soft glow of emergency panels and blinking systems slowly dying. I found the main console and started to flick its switches. Static filled the room. No voices, no signals, just a faint buzz. Then, click, the mic came on. I took a breath and leaned in. "This is Mark Sutter, technician at Outpost Theta. If you hear this, we need help." I looked at the door. Something moved past it. I whispered into the mic, "They're not human anymore. They look like us, sound like us, but they're wrong. Don't trust what you see. Don't trust what you remember." The power dipped the next night. The red lights faded to orange. They live under the ice. They feed on thought, on memory, on identity. Bang! The door shuttered behind me. Then another bang. Louder. They want warmth. They want skin. They want faces. Bang! A deep dent in the door now. I looked at the mic. My voice was shaking. "If you hear this, don't come." I hesitated. "Burn this place. Bury it. Don't let it spread." Bang! The lock on the door snapped. Screws popped loose. I dropped the mic and grabbed my axe. The light flickered one last time. Then, dark. The door creaked open. A figure stepped inside. I couldn't see its face, but it spoke in my voice. "You left me behind." I backed away. It stepped closer. I swung the axe. It caught the edge of the thing's arm, but it didn't bleed. It smiled. Another one entered, and another. All of them me, or parts of me. Voices from my past echoed in the dark. "You failed. You were weak. You came down." I dropped the axe, ran. Through the hallway, past the dark windows and the iced-over walls. They followed, walking, always walking. No rush, no fear, just certainty. I made it to the sleeping quarters and slammed the door shut, pushed a bed in front of it, sat in the corner, waited. They didn't come in, not right away. They whispered through the vents, through the walls, through my own thoughts. You were supposed to listen. You were supposed to stay out. I closed my eyes, put my hands over my ears. But the voices were inside me now, not just outside. They weren't copying me anymore. They were becoming me. And maybe I never left that tunnel. Maybe I'm still down there, cold, waiting, scratching at the walls, smiling. You're still listening? Good. That means it worked. That means the message got out. Or maybe you're already here. Maybe you've been here the whole time. Funny how that works, huh? The mind plays tricks in places like this. You think you're walking around, breathing, choosing your next move, but something else is steering you. Something slow, patient, ancient. Let me back up. You want to know what happened after the power died? After I locked myself in the bunk room? I don't remember. Or maybe I do, but not in the right order. I remember waking up warm, too warm, like the ice was melting around me, like I was back home in my bed during a summer blackout, sweating under the covers. But I wasn't home. I was still in Outpost Theta, or under it, somewhere in between. I opened my eyes. I saw faces staring down at me. Mine. All mine. Smiling, blinking in slow, perfect sync. They whispered things I already knew. You broke the rule. You came down. Now you stay. I felt heavy, like I'd been hollowed out and filled with ice. I couldn't move at first, but then I did. I stood up, walked to the mirror in the hallway, looked at myself. It looked back. Everything seemed right, except I was blinking too slow, and my smile didn't feel like mine. It stretched a little too wide, teeth just a little too straight, and behind the eyes, something else watched. Something not me, but not me either. Like my reflection had memorized me, copied me, improved me, and pushed me aside just a little. That's when I knew I didn't leave the tunnels. Not really. I left something else in my place, something that knew how to be me better than I did. I've been talking to you for a while now, telling you this story, making it feel real, honest, relatable, like a good confession should. But ask yourself something. Who's telling it? Really? Is it me? Or is it the thing that climbed out of the dark wearing my skin? Do you even know anymore? Do I? I walked out of Outpost Theta when the weather cleared. Calm, steady, smiling. The rescue team didn't ask many questions. They found one survivor. Me. They wrote down my name, waved me through debrief, asked about the others. I said they died in the storm, that I was lucky. They believed me because I looked like me, I sounded like me, and I blinked when I was supposed to. Now I'm home, back in the warmth, back in the world, but I still feel it, the cold, inside, like a second heart pulsing ice through my blood. At night, I hear them whisper, in the vents, in the walls, in the mirror. Tell them, invite them, we're so lonely. So I do. I tell the story again and again. I change it sometimes, but not too much, just enough to keep you guessing. And maybe, when you hear it, you'll want to know more. You'll want to see the tunnels for yourself. You'll want to find Outpost Theta and open the door. Just a crack, just enough to let them whisper your name. And when they do, you'll follow, because we always do. We always go down, even when we shouldn't, especially when we shouldn't. That's the last part of the rule, the part no one remembers. Don't go down there, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see. And most of all, don't bring anything back up. But it's too late for that, isn't it? Because I'm here now, and I'm wearing your favorite face. So go on, look in the mirror, real close. Watch your eyes. See if they blink when you do. And if they don't, well, welcome home.